come on in. And yes, your eyes ain't fooling you. I am back. I am back once again to talk about Rashid and Symone. And I'm only coming back because y'all told me to. Y'all told me after my last video that I didn't have all the facts. That when I sat on my last video and I said, you know what? I think I got to take the liar label off Rashid because Symone knew. Y'all were kind to me. You said, you know what? I don't think you have all the information. I think that you need to watch Little Black Book's interview because they went a lot more in depth there. And possibly maybe I would change my mind after I had more information. Because even a couple of you said, a girl, you don't listen. That was funny. You know who you are who said that to me. No, I listened very, very well. I listened so well that I took y'all's advice and I went on over and watched the Little Black Book interview with Symone. And guess what, people? I believe the same thing. And in fact, I believe it even more. And what I want to go over is I'm actually pretty dumbfounded, to be honest with you. I am dumbfounded that I'm the only one right now thinking the way that I'm thinking. I was reading all the comments, and according to the comments, everyone over here is calling Symone a victim. She was manipulated. He's a narcissist. He's a liar. He took advantage of her. This is what I'm hearing. This is what I'm reading in the comments. And I'm saying to myself, I'm used to having a different opinion. I'm used to that. But I'm not used to always being the only one on the edge. I'm wondering, are there some more people out there who think like me, but y'all are afraid to drop down the comments? Because right now, the overwhelming majority of people believe that it's all about Rashid, and Symone is a saint, and she was bamboozled, she was manipulated, she was tricked, and he's a liar. So I did listen to the Little Black Book interview, and I listened well, everyone. I listened well, and I'm gonna go over the whole interview because I want to make sure that if there's any point in which I thought differently than you'll be able to tell me where that point is. I'm gonna really go over it because right now, what I'm getting the sense of is that Rashid and Symone are perfect for each other. Yep, I said it. I said it, that they're perfect for each other. I suspect they'll get back together. She still loves him. And while everyone else is out here calling Rashid a liar, she doesn't call him a liar. In fact, in this interview, she said not only did he tell her that his mama knows, we knew that. We knew she knew. We knew his mama knows. Now we find out in this interview, he even told Rashid's mother and father. That's what she told us. He hasn't been lying to anyone but us the audience, which he didn't owe an explanation to anyway. The only people who have been in the dark about Rashid's real financial status is us. She knew, his mama knew, her mama and daddy also knew, the ex-wife knew, everybody knows but us. I'm not sure he's a liar. Now, I said that in my last interview, that I didn't think he was, I had to take the label of liar off. Someone said, well, he is lying. Not someone, a lot of you said, well, he is lying. Didn't you hear about the car he bought? Well, let's talk about the car. I was going to wait to get to it down and below, but since I'm talking about it right now, let me talk about it. I listened to the whole story about the car. I sure did. I listened to the whole story. Now, on my previous video, I told y'all I had figured out that he was flipping cars. She didn't say that on Kamisha Reviews, but I figured it out. But on this interview with Little Black Book, she actually said he was flipping cars. That's what she said. So when Symone first told us that he got $125,000, he went out and bought this car, it's actually kind of misleading. One of the things that Symone does, I don't know if you guys are picking up on it in her interviews, is Symone is misleading with what she's saying about Rashid. I'm not here to protect Rashid. I'm not here to protect Symone. I'm just here to give y'all my opinion, and I'm not picking sides. Honestly, I think they're perfect for each other. I think they should get back together. According to Symone, she loves him. She's been happy with him. And according to Symone, the only reason she called off the wedding is because he didn't have money for the wedding. That's it, people. She did not call off the wedding because he lied and bought this $125,000 car. Did you get that from Little Black Book's interview? He had bought that car 3 months prior, 2 months prior at minimum, prior to her calling off the wedding. She called off the wedding because he didn't have his half of the money for the wedding. I hope y'all got that. She didn't call off the wedding because he lied to her and didn't tell her he was getting a car. And then when he got the car, he drove up in the car. And then she said, I'm done with you because you're a liar. She did not dump him. She did not break up with him because of the lying. What she dumped him for was because he didn't have the money. And then what she said is, the reason you don't have the money is because of the car. You see what I'm saying? Y'all need to listen better. Telling me to listen better. Everybody else need to listen better. She said, even in this interview several times, if she were rich, if she were Oprah, if she won the lottery, if she won anything, if she had a lot of money, she wouldn't have broken up with him. Because what she's saying is she would have the money to take care of everything. She did not break up with him because he's a liar. I know everybody wants to say that. I know everybody wants to say that that's why they broke up, because he's a liar and a cheat. No. Symone broke up with him because he didn't have the money to pay for his wedding, which means soon as he gets the money to pay for the wedding, guess what? They can get married. I think the problem where I'm differing from a lot of people out here are people are not understanding who Symone is. I think people are so busy picking apart who Rashid is. And I'm not even saying some of the stuff they're picking apart about him ain't true. But they're so busy picking apart Rashid, they're not actually watching Symone. Symone is a hustler. Rashid is a hustler and Symone is a hustler. And the two of them together are a hustling couple. And I don't know if I'm the only one out here that know hustling couples. Y'all don't have no hustling couple friends where both the man and the woman love a good hustle. And that's what they bond off in marriage. They're both big time hustlers. Sometimes they win big. Sometimes they don't win big. Sometimes they fall hard. Sometimes they're up on the gravy train. I call them hustler couples. You know who was a hustler couple? Phaedra and Apollo from Real Housewives of Atlanta. Hustling couple for years. But it went bad when he got in a little too deep and he ended up going to prison. Hustling couple because Phaedra is a hustler. And I don't mean hustler. I'm not trying to use hustler in no derogatory term. I'm just talking about people who like to hustle out in these streets and get their money. And sometimes they do it any kind of way they want to. And that is who Symone and Rashid is. I don't know why everybody else is calling Rashid a narcissist, lying, manipulative, and Symone is not calling him any of these names. None of these names. In fact, she's trying to tell you he is held in high regard in his family, amongst his friend circles, in her life, in other people's life. Do you now say that Symone is smart over here, but she's dumb over here? No, that's not what's going on. That is not what's going on. I said in my last video that Symone is not scared of the type of things that maybe another woman will be scared of. She's not scared of this environment with Rashid because she is a hustler. Let me go back to this car because I started the conversation. I want to make sure I finish it. That was misleading when Symone first said he's $125,000 in debt over a car. Let me tell you why it's misleading. Because when you first hear that statement, I felt he went out and he bought a car first for personal use. That's what I first thought. The very first time when Rashid was doing his confessional and he said the car is in his mama's name, okay, I first went from, wow, you went out and bought a car for yourself and put in your mama's name, flexing like you own a Porsche and you can't even afford the Porsche. That was my first thought. Then I watched Symone on Kamisha Reviews, and Symone said He went out and he bought this $125,000 car that's now only worth $85,000. So when I say he bought a car for $125,000, and now it's worth $85,000, he's done lost $40,000 on the car. The car is worth less than what he paid for it. First of all, any car you buy is going to depreciate. As soon as you drive it off the lot, that car is going to drop at least 20%. At least. So when she said the car was purchased for $125,000, but yet the car is only worth $85,000, I say, okay, well, that's a difference of $40,000. So then I say, well, if he bought the car and he drove it off the lot, it's already going to depreciate at least $20,000. So what he's saying, he lost an extra $25,000. I'm putting this stuff in perspective. That's what I'm thinking off the Kamisha reviews. Y'all drop down in my comments telling me I don't have the real story. But let me tell you, when I went and got the real story, it actually made it worse for Symone, but made it better for Rashid. And let me tell you why. Because Symone tells us that when he bought that car, he had the car for a month or two. She didn't have no problem with it. She was still staying over at his house, sleeping together, living together, on track to get married. Whatever lie he told, if you want to say it's a lie, whatever misleading thing he did, it wasn't enough to make her call off the marriage 2 months ago. She was fine with it. She tells the story. When Kojo asked her specifically, he asked her, now, Symone, when Rashid bought this car, did he buy it for personal or business? You know the first thing that came out Symone's mouth? She said personal. That was the first thing she said. Then she said, well, wait a minute. It was business. Well, wait a minute, Symone. Don't try to fool us. Don't try to trick us to have empathy and sympathy for you. Tell us the truth, Symone. She goes, well, actually, it was for business first. Well, now that's a different story. Let's talk about it, Symone. Let's hear the story. She tells the story that he purchased the car for business. Like I told you, I knew he was into flipping cars. So I said, okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now this is sounding like what I thought. He purchased the car to flip it. What went wrong, Symone? Well, he actually had a buyer for the car. Okay, hey, things must have been going right for Rashid. He bought the car. He was going to flip the car. He had a buyer. Well, keep telling the story, Symone. Well, when he went down to the dealership to sell the car to the dealer, because more than likely the dealer had a buyer. I told you guys there's a shortage of cars. People come into dealerships and they want a specific car. Porsches, electric Porsches that were probably not plentiful on the market. Teslas back in the day, back in time, weren't plentiful. The dealer says, I got a buyer for the car. Bring down the car. We'll buy it from you. We'll flip it to our buyer. That was what's going on. That was the plan. He took the car down to the dealer and guess what happened? A tractor trailer ran into the brand new Porsche on the dealership. Ran into a tractor trailer. So guess what? That's how the car lost so much value, because it got damaged. So guess what? Now the dealer doesn't want to buy it because the dealer can't sell it to the owner that wanted the car in the beginning. But guess what Symone tells us? Well, the car did get fixed. Oh, it did get fixed. Of course it got fixed, because if a tractor trailer driver runs into a Porsche on a dealership, guess what? That tractor trailer driver's insurance is going to pay for that Porsche to get repaired. So although the car did get repaired, guess what? Now Rashid can't sell it to the dealer and the dealer can't sell it to the buyer. So when you say he bought the car for $125 and it dropped down to $85, at first she didn't tell us the whole story. And now we know that the whole story is he was going to flip the car. And the reason why the car lost all that value because it was in a car accident. And then she tells us on the back end, we got the car fixed, but we got a lawsuit against the tractor trailer. Hustling couple. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't have no lawsuit against the tractor trailer, but I'm just telling you, she did not leave this man because he bought that $125,000 car, because she would have left him 3 months ago. And they got a lawsuit on the car, which means if you got a pending lawsuit involving that car to get more money, maybe from the insurance company or for whatever reason, guess what they can't do? They can't sell the car. It's part of a lawsuit. So if he sells the car, then guess what happens? It messes up the lawsuit. Because I'm quite sure the lawsuit is going to be for the loss of money that Rashid lost because that car became worth less and it's a business situation. He can tie that car and say, this is how I made my money. So not only should I get money to get my car repaired, I should be restored money because of the money I lost on this car. Symone is a lawyer. She knows this. I know that's part of that lawsuit. So once again, what I'm getting to in this point is throughout this whole interview with Symone, there's a lot of situations where I think people want to paint Symone as the victim. And she was a willing participant. She was not manipulated. She is a hustler too. She's not afraid of these moments that's going on. What she really got upset with, and I keep going back to it, was because that man didn't have the money for the wedding. That's the only reason she left him. It is not because of lying. It's not because of manipulation. It's not because he's a narcissist. Okay? None of that. Symone is thoroughly happy with Rashid. Thoroughly. And we're going to go through it even more in depth. So I don't know. Go get a glass of water. Go get a glass of wine. Because y'all told me I didn't listen the last time to the commission reviews. And I think I listened pretty well. But I listened real good. I listened real good to this Little Black Book interview. I took notes. I listened to it on my way to my 9 to 5. My real 9 to 5. And I listened to it on the home for my 9 to 5. And now I want to talk about it. And thinking of 9 to 5, thank you, Kenya from Cali, who told me that the new job that Rashid has is really selling cars. Selling cars. So he's not really in no 9 to 5 where you get a steady paycheck every single week, every single month. He's still in the business of cars. He's still selling. I'm telling you, Symone and Rashid are the hustling couple. And I can point to a lot of situations where Symone got the better end of the deal with Rashid. I'm going to talk about it. You talk about Rashid hustled Symone. There's a lot of situations that Symone talked about where she got the better end. I told you guys in another video I've done that when people tell me they're always helping people, I always ask them a question. Do you help people only when you're getting something out of the deal, or do you help people when you have to make a sacrifice and you're getting nothing? All this help people want to talk about Symone was giving Rashid. Yes, she was giving him help, teaching him how to get out from under debts, teaching him how to circumvent situations for debts he owed, handle his money. She absolutely helped him. She allowed her intellectual knowledge to help him. She helped him with that. But Symone was getting things in return. Does that mean it's not help? I'm not saying it's not help. But don't act as if she's the only one giving and she wasn't getting nothing for Rashid. She was getting a lot of things from Rashid. A lot of things. And we're going to talk about that too. But this idea that it was a one-way street and that Symone was doing all the giving and Rashid was doing all the taking is wrong. It's false. It's wrong. And the truth of the matter is Symone herself is saying that's false. Symone herself is telling everybody that's not true. So I don't know why the streets, the comment sections, everybody else is saying something about Rashid and Symone's relationship and she's not saying it. I know y'all are saying because Rashid said it. I know y'all are saying, because some of you told me, well, Rashid himself called himself a liar, but Symone cleared that up too. Symone told us that every time they have a fight, Rashid is the person who always says he's wrong first. She says she never admits any wrong. He's the one that always steps up real fast and says he's sorry and that he's wrong and then he apologizes. She says that's part of his DNA. That's what she said. So him getting on YouTube, falling on his sword, seems to be par for the course, is what he does. He falls at the feet of Symone every time he does something wrong, and he's quick to apologize. But I want to go through these points because I don't want to be accused after this video of not listening. I want to make sure y'all know that I listened to everything she said. So like I said, this breakup all started because at first she said she was willing to elope. He told her, I don't have any money for the wedding. I don't have the money I told you I would have. Because now we know the reason he didn't have the money is because the flip on that Porsche fell through, because that Porsche got hit by a car, and the money he was expecting to make from that flip, he didn't make it, and therefore he didn't have any money for the car. Now we know why he didn't have any money for the wedding. And what she said was she was pissed because now, as she said, he's riding around in her wedding money. Well, the only reason he's riding around in the wedding money is because he couldn't get the car sold because it got damaged. She tried to make us believe in the beginning that he just went out and bought a $125,000 car for his personal use. And therefore, instead of spending on the wedding, he's spending on his personal use. No, what he did was he bet on that car getting sold and he lost. That's what he did. He bet and he lost. But here's the thing. She knew he had made the bet 2 months prior to calling off the wedding. 2 months, possibly 3. So if the lie was the big problem, if the lying about getting the car was really the big problem, she would have left 3 months ago. She didn't leave. She left when the deal fell through, and that's a big and he couldn't come up with any other money to pay for his half of the wedding. Listen to me, people. She left not because he went out and bought a Porsche for a business flip or whatever else. She left because he couldn't come up with his portion of the wedding money, period. That's a big difference. It's a big difference. And people need to stop saying she shouldn't be with Rashid because you wouldn't be Rashid. I wouldn't be with Rashid, okay? I wouldn't be with him. But for her, Symone likes a good hustle. They're actually perfect for each other. They're perfect for each other. I think they should get back together. I think they're going to get back together. I wouldn't be surprised. And guess what? They'll just be a hustling couple out here. They'll be a hustling couple. She loves him. Let me tell you these stories she was telling out here about Rashid. And I don't know how y'all can paint Symone as a victim if you listen to her stories. First of all, here she is on this YouTube with a little black book talking about the demise of her, fiance, her engagement. And at the same time, she plugging her, her businesses, which is fine. I'm not saying nothing's wrong with it. I'm just telling you, Symone is a hustler. Symone is saying, I can cry on this YouTube channel and cry about losing my fiance, but at the same time, I can also be a businesswoman and get my money. Get it, girl. Get it, Symone. I can cry on your shoulder over here. And at the same time, I can tell y'all, make sure you contact me if you want to do some background checks on other people. I offer these services. Symone is a hustler. That's why she gets Rashid. She gets Rashid because she and Rashid, I think, a lot alike. They think a lot alike. They really are two peas in a pod. First of all, Symone tells us that she actually didn't think Rashid's finances were that bad. She said it. This is not nothing I'm saying. This is not my opinion. She said that his finances weren't that bad. I told you guys, Symone does this for a living. She's not scared of it. She's not intimidated by it. Something you wouldn't have wanted in a man. She had no problem because she was getting a lot of other benefits from the relationship. She says, I already know how to do this. I know how to do this in my sleep. This is not hard for me. In fact, she felt good about it. She felt good being able to help him and be able to use her knowledge, her education, her experience in order to help him do something. She felt good about it. He didn't manipulate her. This was in exchange for. This relationship was mutually beneficial. Just because she was doing something for him, it doesn't mean she wasn't getting anything in return. Y'all act like she was giving to Rashid and she wasn't getting nothing in return. She was. She was getting things in return. She was not manipulated. She was not used. She was not abused. The only thing she didn't get was this wedding. And in fact, she said that he was confused when she got upset because she was the one initially that said, okay, let's elope. But then she started thinking about it. And she started talking about how she deserves a wedding. A wedding that she tells us was only going to be $17,000. And that she was willing to have her parents raid their retirement accounts to help pay for her wedding. I got a problem with that. I know parents pay for people's weddings, but I don't agree with older people raiding their retirement accounts for people's weddings. They don't have no time to make up that money. If you darn near 40 years old and you about to get married, you should not be asking your parents to raid their 401ks. If they got extra money, sit in a checking account or a savings account somewhere, a liquid cash. But you shouldn't tell them to dip into their retirement savings so you can have a wedding. Symone felt comfortable doing that. I'm telling you people, Symone's not a victim. And this is not to put Symone down. What this is more to do is, I think you guys are over victimizing Symone and she's not even doing it to herself. You guys keep calling Symone a victim, that she was abused, that he's a narcissist and he manipulated her. And what she's telling you is she doesn't feel that way one bit. Because Symone knows the areas in which she was winning with Rashid. Where she started losing was because she didn't get the wedding. Up until then, Symone was winning. Even with his financial state, Symone was winning. Symone said she'd already looked into his financial background. She said there was times when he was making over $250,000. I don't know if she's talking about gross or is she talking about net. I hope she ain't one of these people that don't know the difference between gross and net. I think she does know the difference. But telling me somebody made over $250,000, $250,000, I could see that if he's flipping cars, because you could flip a car for 140, but that's gross. That's not net. Symone had her plan all worked out. She said this man has the potential to make $250,000 a year. I don't know, like I said, is it gross or net? So what? She looked it up. She was comfortable with it. She wasn't a victim. She was comfortable with it. She did her forensics. She did her financial forensics and she came up, she was fine. She said it her own self. I deal with situations and people like this all the time. Like I said, this is nothing more than Phaedra and Apollo. Oftentimes she talks about Mendices. And what's Mendices' wife on, what's that show, Love and Hip Hop? She references these couples that have been with men who've had indiscretions. She's familiar with it. She doesn't have a problem with it. Does she want his money to be steady? Yes. But the fact that he's had bumpy roads, unsteady times, it didn't bother her. It didn't scare her. The only time she said, I'm out, is when he didn't have half of his $17,000. That's it. She wasn't scared of the dips and the dives. She wasn't scared of it. So why is everyone else painting her as a victim, saying she was manipulated, saying she was taken advantage of, saying she was used? And even Symone isn't saying that about herself. Her parents were going to liquidate their 401k to even pay for a wedding to Rashid, and they already knew his financial situation. So what? They were going to continue to allow their daughter to get used and abused by a man? Don't you think if they had thought Rashid was using and abusing Symone, they would say, I'm not paying for your wedding. I'm not giving you any money. Why are we the better judge of why Symone and Rashid shouldn't be together? When she said they were fine, the mother and daddy said they was fine, Rashid's mama said they was fine. I know everybody wants to keep talking about this $125,000 Porsche and he was getting other people's names. Well, whose name was it in? Was this another thing that was in his mama's name? That's what he said. He said his car was in his mama's name. So once again, another misleading statement. He's getting loans in other people's names. She might didn't want to say his mama's name because she's maybe that's going to be her future mother-in-law. She might didn't want to throw the mother under the bus. But when she's saying he got loans in other people's names, he told us the names he got the loans in for the car was his mama's name. And to be honest with you, it probably isn't the first time he got car loans in his mama's name or somebody else's name because it was a business. More than likely, people were investing in his business. You guys need to look at this and stop being so quick to want to say that it's all a big ruse to take money from Symone. If Rashid was really flipping cars, if Rashid was really having 4 and 5 cars at a time in which he was flipping, he wasn't paying cash for these 4 or 5 cars, and he's flipping high-end cars. He's flipping cars that cost anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000, which means if he's flipping 4 or 5 at a time, 80 times 4 is $320,000. He wasn't paying cash for that, which means he's financing all those cars while he's about to flip them. It's no different than when a person flips a house. If I flip a house, I'm not paying cash for the house. More than likely what I'm going out and doing, because I know the home flipping business, because I flipped houses before. You go out, you get a loan on the house, you have to pay a monthly note, $3,000, $4,000 a month, but you better flip it fast, because then you got to pay back the loan on the house maybe within a year. But he's in the car business. He's flipping cars. He's got to pay those loans back faster. Now with a house, I can go to the bank. I can go to a hard money lender, whoever else, and get a loan on the house because that house is worth something and people will give you a loan against it. Sure, I got to put down 20, 30% down, but they're going to give me a loan for the balance. But with a car and having 4 car notes, more than likely Rashid took on investors. More than likely Rashid would go to you and say, hey, I'm going to flip a Tesla. I'm going to flip a Tesla. I'm going to buy it for 80, but I'm going to flip it for 120, or I'm going to flip it for 110. And he offers you a piece of the deal. So he tells you, well, I'm going to flip it, but you got to get the car in your name. You got to carry the note. And then on the back end, when I sell it, you get your money back, plus you get some profit. Guess what? Now he never even has to have the car loan in his name. You see, when it was first told to us, it was told to us as if Rashid was running around tricking everybody. If that Rashid was going around manipulating everybody. But we come to find out that's not the story. That's not the story. And that's what I'm explaining to you. If Rashid really was that guy, there's no way the mother would still be putting cars in his name if she had been losing money on cars. There's no way the parents would have been giving this couple $10,000 even after Symone told us Rashid went to the mama and daddy, laid out his financial situation and laid out a financial plan. And they were still going to give them money for the wedding. Symone was not a victim. She was not taken advantage of. She was not used. She was not bamboozled. Symone is a hustler. She's with her hustling man. And she's upset with her hustling man because the last hustle he did caused him not to have the money for the wedding. She's not mad at the hustler in him. She's mad that the last hustling deal messed up their wedding money. But one of them hustling deals had enough money to get her that ring. Somebody told me the ring was $18,000. $18,000. She was okay with the hustle when the hustle was paying for that ring. Symone tells us she moved into Rashid's house. I knew that because we heard it on commission reviews. She said that she was fine living in his house and that Rashid was paying all the bills. All she had to do was pay for groceries from Aldi's grocery store. Not even Whole Foods. She wasn't even shopping at Whole Foods. She was buying groceries from Aldi. He was paying the mortgage and all the utilities and all the other expenses. And I said back then, dang, she already knew he was broke, but she's willing to move into the house and not contribute nothing even though she knows he's broke? Yes. She said, I ain't paying no mortgages. I'm not paying nothing. Well, guess what? She had a house. What was she doing with her house? At first, I thought her house was just sitting empty and she was over there living with Rashid. No. Come to find out, the hustling Symone said the reason she moved in with Rashid was because she was already spending a lot of time over there. Listen, people, listen. She moved in with Rashid because she was already spending time over there. Because guess what she was doing with her house? Airbnb in it. She was cleaning up. She said her place was so busy and booked. So busy and booked. She was making so much money off her place, she had to stay with Rashid. So finally she said, oh, why do I need to live in my house and shut down all this money coming from Airbnb? She moved into Rashid so she could keep making money on her house. This is a different story, people. So she's over here making money on her house and living rent-free with Rashid, and all she got to do is pay for Aldi's or groceries. Come on, people. Does this sound like a story where Rashid was using her? No. She was getting something out of it. She was probably to the tune every month. She had to be making at least a couple of $1,000 a month on her house or more. So she didn't move into Rashid's house and now he's taking advantage of her. She moved into Rashid's house. Now she done come up. She's on the come up. How is she being used? She told us the story that Rashid told her, you shouldn't be working out of your house. You need an office. He went and found her an office. And guess what? He was paying the rent at the office too. She knew that he was broke. She knew that his finances were not good. But she was willing to live with him rent-free and make money on the Airbnb. She was willing to live there for Aldi groceries. She was willing to let him pay her rent on her office space. Her office space. And he's broke. So now she got free office space and she's just buying Aldi groceries and she's getting money from Airbnb. But all of you want to paint her as a victim? She's not a victim. And I'm not saying anything's wrong with it. I'm just saying people need to stop choosing people for other people based on what you would want in a man, what makes you happy. He was making her happy. She was happy living rent-free. She was happy only paying out the groceries. She was happy with a rent-free apartment. She was happy when he took her on vacations. She told him, I'm only going to be with a man that can take me on 2 vacations a year, period. She told him. He was fulfilling the promise up until a point, till he couldn't afford it no more. Till he couldn't afford the vacations or the birthday parties or the wedding, and then she dumped him. That's what happened. When he could no longer pay for the things for her that he had been paying for, she dumped him. Then she started telling some story talking about she employed Rashid. I said, oh, you employed him? What? Oh, yeah, but you know what? He did a lot for me. Well, that's a different story. She tried to make it sound like she was giving him money. Then she started talking about, no, he did all my marketing. He did this. You think she was paying him? Do you think she was paying Rashid the going rate for whatever he did for her, the marketing he did for her? No. She was getting whatever labor he was doing for her, whatever know-how he was helping her with, marketing and all the other things she said he was doing for her. She was getting at a bargain price. A bargain price. So once again, who's losing? She's living in a house rent-free. She's Airbnb-ing clock of money. She's got she's got an office rent-free. She's got an $18,000 ring. She's going on trips. She's getting a cheaper labor for her other businesses. He's working for her and she's paying him probably less than she would pay a regular person. I know she was. She was not paying a top dollar for him. She was not paying the going rate. She said that there has never been a time when he didn't give her something she wanted. Never. That's what she said. There's never been a time when he didn't give me something that I wanted. She said, and even when I knew he couldn't afford it, he still gave it to me. What? So you was taking gifts even when you knew he couldn't afford it? Yes, that's what she's telling us. She's saying there was never a time when he didn't provide something for her that she wanted, except now this wedding. He couldn't provide it. And guess what she did? She broke up with him. She said there was never a time before. And even though she knew he couldn't afford it, she accepted it. But this time, when he couldn't afford the wedding, guess what she did? She broke up with him. I told y'all Kamisha Reviews, when she said she was doing the video with Kamisha Reviews, she said he was out there cutting her grass then. So she broke up with the man, kicked him to the curb, is on YouTube, talking about how broke he is, but he's out in the backyard cutting the grass. Good Lord. And y'all want to say that she's a victim and that she's been manipulated and that she's been used. And she's not even saying that about herself. This is what I don't get out here right now. What I don't get is why everyone else is saying this about her and she's not even saying it about herself. That's what I don't understand. Sure, she used her know-how. Sure, she told him how if you work for a nonprofit, some other company, for 2 years, they're going to help get rid of his student loan debt. She passed along these tips. Absolutely. Did she use her know-how to help him? Yes. Did she use her intellectual knowledge? Yes. Did she use any connections she might have? Yes. She hooked him up with counsel sessions with people who told him about the option of filing bankruptcy. She did all that. She did all that. But how would she look if she had the knowledge and didn't help him? Is it a gift though? Is it a gift based on all the other things she was getting in return? Free rent, free rent at the house, free rent at the office building, $18,000 rings, vacations, trips, other gifts she said that he bought her. Is she really being used just because she gave a little bit of knowledge to him? No. Symone and Rashid are a hustling couple. And just like Rashid liked to fake gold chains, fake Rolexes to create an image, Symone's the same. Symone's the same. She talked about another time where she got really mad where he couldn't afford the birthday trip. The birthday trip. Now you hear Symone tell the story. He told her, hey, in the beginning, he promised to take her on a birthday trip. Her birthday, I guess, is New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, which one of the days. He promised to take her on a birthday trip. By the time the birthday came around, Rashid is broke. We all know that. He done spent all his money, probably paying on the rent, on the rental, on the office building, and on the house. And all he eating is Aldi groceries. He's broke. He says, I can't take you on the birthday trip, Symone. Symone is pissed. She's pissed because guess what? She about to not get something she wants. She said, well, you should have told me sooner. I'm pissed. I got that. I understand. You planning for this trip. All of a sudden he canceled at the last time. She says, you should have told me sooner because if you would have told me sooner, I could have made other plans. I could have gone on a trip with my girlfriends, right? I didn't need to be at home here sacrificing with you. Okay, just getting back to what I talk about when I say, is it a gift if you're not sacrificing? She's saying, I didn't need to sacrifice my birthday and be sitting here at home with you because you broke. I could have gone with my girlfriends and had a good time because I got money. I got it. I got it. So then she says, well, the reason why he probably didn't tell me in advance or I didn't go is because he didn't want my girlfriends to know that he was broke. No, Symone, you could have still gone. What you didn't want is you didn't want your friends to know that he was broke. You see, Symone tried to paint it like he was trying to protect his image. It could be that too. But Symone likes to keep up an image too. Symone does. People would have been asking, why aren't you going on a trip with your boyfriend? They would have asked her the question. And she didn't want to have to tell them that he was broke. Let's be real and let's be honest. What she said really upset her about Rashid is that when she wanted something and he wasn't able to get it, that made her mad. As long as Rashid was able to give her everything she wanted, when she wanted it, she would have been happy. The minute he couldn't pay for that wedding, it was over with. She was fine with whatever he was doing when he could come up with the money for the gifts, the trips, the rings, the mortgage, the rent, the whatever. Everybody wants to make it pretend like it's all about this Porsche, this flip deal that went bad. No, that's not what it's all about. I believe these two will get back together. Soon as this man gets a little bit of money saved in order to pay for a wedding, these two will be back together because she loves him. And as she said, he's a wonderful man. They had a wonderful life. They took trips together. They laughed together. He's her best friend. She loves his child. She loves his family. Her family loves him. So much so that they was willing to give them money for the wedding, even though they knew his financial position. What? Is everybody out there being manipulated? No. Everybody's not being manipulated by Rashid. They're not. These are people who like Rashid, and yes, have they enabled him? Absolutely. But enabling somebody does not make you a victim. No, it doesn't. And it doesn't mean that he necessarily manipulated them. He didn't manipulate Symone. Symone was willing to go along with this. Symone likes a hustler man. I know she does. There are a lot of women who like men who are hustlers like Rashid. They like that in them. She called Rashid an alpha male. People was like, how can he be an alpha male and he can't handle no money? She likes that he's an alpha male because guess what he doesn't do? He doesn't always listen to everything she says. He doesn't always let her make all the decisions for him. That's what she's saying. She likes that about him. She says she don't want to be a hustling man. She don't want to be with a broke hustling man. That's the difference. She don't want to be with a hustling man that's broke. She wants some steady money, but she don't mind the hustle. She does not mind the hustle one bit. Symone admits, she said, you know what? I don't have as many options out here as you think I do, people. That's another thing. People act like Symone got a whole lot of options. People act like she got a whole lot of men falling at her feet, and why she choosing Rashid, she could choose all these other men. She's telling you she ain't got all the options. She's telling you that she's hard to fit with another man, with a man. She's saying that. She's saying she's a lot to deal with. She's saying she's got a big personality. We've seen Symone. Symone ain't easy. In fact, when she was talking about this whole thing about therapy, oh, that was another thing going on. Oh, he lied about going to therapy. Did you hear the story, the real story? He said, I do want to continue going to therapy, but I want you to go too because you got issues too. It's just not me. And Symone said, I know I got problems. I do have problems, but I'm not going because she ain't found a new therapist. She said she wasn't going back to therapy or hadn't gone back because her original therapist had gone to jail. Jail. What kind of people is Symone dealing with? Therapists that are going to jail. And now that he's out of jail, he can't accept Aetna. He can't accept Aetna insurance. I keep telling you, Symone is from the hustling world. She even got a hustler therapist. And she said she got to find another therapist because her hustling therapist who got out of jail don't accept Aetna insurance. And Rashid said, well, we need to go to therapy together too. She said this man irons for her every day, irons her clothes. She said this man styles her. She says this man was paying for the rent on the mortgage while she was making money at Airbnb. He was paying the rent at the office building. All she had to do was buy Aldi groceries and share a little bit of her know-how in the legal profession that she's been doing for, 20 years. But she got used? No, people. She's not used. She's not manipulated. She's a willing participant. She was happy with her life. The only reason why it went bad is because the wedding didn't get paid for. That's it. She's told us he's not a narcissist. He apologizes all the time. He apologizes first. All his friends love him. He's adored. Narcissists are not adored in their friend circles. They are not adored in family circles. Everybody's not being fooled by Rashid. She said he treats her good. He compromises. He listens to her stories. Things she never could find in another man. Why is everybody feeling as if Symone needs to be protected? She seems to be doing just fine. Sure, she's crying over here, but she's crying because the man didn't have $8,000 for a wedding. It's starting to feel like a temper tantrum. It's starting to feel like a temper tantrum that finally Rashid couldn't deliver on something and now she's having a temper tantrum. That's what it's starting to feel like. Like I told you before, she was the one that told him to make the video. I thought he got on here running scared from Symone. Come to find out, she told him to make the video. Another hustle for views, to make some more money. Let's make some money off this situation. Let's put this on YouTube and make some money off of it. I'm okay with it. I hope I make some money off of it too. I hope y'all click the like button. Click the like button and click on the subscribe button. Because if Symone and Rashid can get paid, I guess I can too. I guess I can too. Is she grieving or is she making money off the situation? She's the one that told the man to make the video. Symone is a smart girl. She's a smart woman. She knows exactly what she's doing. Exactly what she's doing. She said it in the interview with Little Black Book. She said she's so proud of him for doing the video. She's proud of him. She loves him. You guys can't call Symone smart, be willing to call her business, ask her for advice, and then keep thinking her head is in the clouds on this. Her head is not in the clouds. She's in the light. She's okay with this. And if I'm a friend of Symone, I say, girl, are you happy? Does he make you happy? She says, yes. That's what she's saying. The only thing I don't like is that he couldn't come up with $8,000 for the wedding. Really. She already said that she would just give him a prepaid debit card. She already said that she would lock down his credit so he couldn't purchase nothing. She's fine with it. Y'all may not be fine with it. I wouldn't be fine with it, but she's fine with it. But she's not a victim. She's not manipulated. And truth of the matter is she really wasn't lied to. She really wasn't. Y'all want to say the story of him getting a car was a lie. I don't even believe that no more. She was living up in the house. She saw the car. She didn't break up with him. This is a story of a man. Yeah, he went out and purchased a car for his business. He did. People want to say, well, the lie was he wasn't taking his medication. Dang, I got to tell my husband every single week, did you take your vitamins this week? Does that make him a liar? They say, oh, he was a liar because he said he was going to go to therapy. They had a plan. He didn't go to therapy. How many women out here have been telling their husbands to go to therapy and he ain't gone? I don't see no smoking guns. I don't see no smoking guns. I see a couple that's a hustling couple. I see that they was winning at it for a while. It was bumpy. But the shit hit the fan when the last hustle messed up this wedding. When the big wedding in which she wanted to have it filmed, she wanted to have it on TV. She wanted to have friends look at it. She wanted to say yes to the dress. All that started falling apart and now it's messing her up. Before it wasn't messing her up. She was set aside from it. She was helping them, but it wasn't messing her up. But now right here, you can't pay for the wedding. You're messing me up. That's when she drew the line. That's when she drew the line. These two gonna get back together. And I don't care if they do. Because guess what? She was happy with them. I know hustling couples out here. I don't know why y'all ain't never met no hustling couple before, as if this is all brand new. This is not brand new. I know some of y'all out there know hustling couples. And if you have a hustling couple that you know, sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. Sometimes they fuss and fight, but they thick as thieves. They like Bonnie and Clyde out there in the world. They like Bonnie and Clyde. And all Symone is doing right now is throwing a temper tantrum because that man didn't have the money for that wedding and she wants to teach him a lesson. But he's gonna come up with 8,000. He's gonna come up with 8,000, 10,000, whatever he's got to come up with. He gonna come up with it. I don't know when. A couple of months, a year, and they're gonna have a comeback story. Because she didn't have no problem with what he was doing. He was ironing clothes, rubbing her feet, taking her on vacations, buying her rings, paying rent on the house, paying rent on the office building. She was willing to get a house in her name. Of course she was. Of course she was willing to get a house in her name and have him pay the mortgage on it. She a hustler. Of course she was. She told him, I'm willing to get the house in my name. I know you was. I know you were willing to get a house in your name, but have him pay the mortgage. I know she was. Symone ain't a fool, y'all. Symone is not a fool. I'm glad y'all are rallying around her, giving a hug, and I will give her a hug too. But she's doing just fine. She knows what's going on. She's fully aware. She's sad over this wedding, absolutely. This is a temper tantrum. This is just a temper tantrum because she didn't get what she wanted. He promised to give her a wedding and have $10,000. He didn't have it, and she's upset. Just like a kid, if you tell a kid, I'm going to take you to Disneyland, and you don't take them. They fall out. And that's what she's doing. She's falling out all over these YouTube channels. All over them. But she ain't mad at him. She loves him. She said he's not manipulative. He's not a narcissist. He's nice. He's this. He's all that. I wish y'all would listen to her. I wish y'all would listen to what she's saying, as opposed to coming up with your own understanding of how what you would want in a man, what you would want in a man. I get what you would want in a man, but listen to what she's comfortable with what she likes. She likes Rashid. She's known since day one that he was a hustler, and she fell in love with it. He didn't lie to her. He was honest with her. He told her up front, day one. Rashid has told a lot of people the truth. The mother, Symone, even Symone's parents, probably tons of other people that we don't know about. She's comfortable with it. She's happy with it. But she just wants her doggone wedding. And the minute he finally gives her the wedding she wants, he can't give her that $17,000 wedding no more. Not no more. He gonna have to make up for it. This almost like, you blew it, Rashid. You're not gonna be able to come back now with no $17,000 wedding. Not at all. You're gonna have to come back strong now. That budget didn't bump back up to $30,000. You better go flip another car. You better come up with some kind of way to make up some more money, because her price has been raised. Her price is no longer $17,000. More than likely, it's going to be back up to $30,000 or maybe even more. And I guarantee you, if he can come up with a way to come up with $30,000 to $50,000, Symone will marry him. And they will go off, sail into the sunset, and have a happy hustler couple of life. That's it, y'all. Talk to you later. Bye.